Hi there. I'm pretty excited about this one. I am reading this book, Telepathy by Alice A. Bailey, for my personal reading, and I found it online on the publisher's website, so I can just read a part of the introduction for you there. Sorry about that very bright jump, but let me just read some of this wonderfulness for you. From the very beginning, the first chapter, Teaching on Telepathy. The field of telepathic interplay. One of the characteristics distinguishing the group of world servers and knowers is that the outer organization which holds them integrated is practically non-existent. They are held together by the inner structure of thought and by a telepathic medium of interrelation. The great ones, whom we all seek to serve, are thus linked and can, at the slightest need and with the least expenditure of force, get in rapport with each other. They are all tuned to a particular vibration. In the new groups are collected together people who are very diverse in their nature, who are found upon differing rays, who are of different nationalities, and who are each of them the product of widely varying environments and heredity. Besides these obvious factors, which immediately attract attention, there is also to be found an equal diversity in the life experience of the souls concerned. The complexity of the problem is also tremendously increased when one remembers the long road which each has traveled and the many factors emerging out of a dim and distant past which have contributed to make each person what he now is. When, therefore, one dwells on the barriers and difficulties supervening upon such diverse conditions, the question arises at once: what provides the common meeting ground, and what makes it possible to have an interplay between the minds involved? The answer to this question is of paramount importance and necessitates a clear understanding. So right here it's talking about how these greats, the great ones, have the ability to communicate and get in rapport with each other. And now there's a group of world servers that is emerging, or that is present on this earth plane at this time, who's also learning how to get in rapport with each other. And not only are they tackling the subject of telepathy in and of itself, which is just mind-blowing to so many people who just kind of aren't even on that wavelength right now to even consider such a thing to be possible, but they're also facing numerous other challenges that you would wonder, how are they even able to connect with one another in general? They have extremely different backgrounds, lifestyles, cultures, nationalities, life experiences, different factors that seem to be hindrances to them even connecting on what most people would see as just a basic level of human being to human being, and yet they're still able to do it. And that's because these people are specifically here with this duty, with this capacity to get in rapport with one another for their mission work. Moving on to the next section. When the biblical words are used, "In him we live and move and have our being," we have a statement of a fundamental law in nature and the enunciated basis of the fact which we cover by the rather meaningless word omnipresence. Omnipresence has its basis in the substance of the universe and in what the scientists call the ether. This word ether is a generic term covering the ocean of energies which are all interrelated and which constitute that one synthetic energy body of our planet. In approaching, therefore, the subject of telepathy, it must be carefully borne in mind that the etheric body of every form in nature is an integral part of the substantial form of God Himself, not the dense physical form, but what the esotericists regard as the form-making substance. We use the word God to signify the expression of the one life which animates every form on the outer objective plane. The etheric or energy body, therefore, of every human being is an integral part of the etheric body of the planet itself, and consequently of the solar system. Through this medium, every human being is basically related to every other expression of the divine life, minute or great. The function of the etheric body is to receive energy impulses and to be swept into activity by these impulses or streams of force emanating from some originating source or other. The etheric body is in reality naught but energy. It is composed of myriads of threads of force, or tiny streams of energy, held in relation to the emotional and mental bodies and to the soul by their coordinating effect. These streams of energy, in their turn, have an effect on the physical body and swing it into activity of some kind or other, according to the nature and power of whatever type of energy may be dominating the etheric body at any particular time. So here we see that the great unifying factor within each of us is that we're all connected through the same essence. So, of course, when we break everything down to its simplest part, where we all are one and we're all connected, then you see, just like in the whole concept of what oneness in general and solving all our problems right now, it comes from breaking down all these barriers and all these separations and all this division and getting to the source where really there is no separation. So now we can be in rapport with each other in the 3D, and here with telepathy, the same concept as above, so below. You're now able to get in rapport with another mind to communicate telepathically because you are made of the same source. And just like with where it says, however minute or great, how people communicate with animals, how there were many cultures who communicate with plant life and the energy surrounding them. It's the same concept here. So this last section here, before I jump off. Through the etheric body, therefore, circulates energy emanating from some mind. With humanity in the mass, response is made unconsciously to the rulings of the universal mind. This is complicated in our time and age by a growing responsiveness to the mass ideas, called sometimes public opinion, of the rapidly evolving human mentality. Within the human family are also found those who respond to that inner group of thinkers who, working in mental matter, control from the subjective side of life the emergence of the great plan and the manifestation of divine purpose. I read that sentence again because it's really powerful, but I kind of rambled through it. Within the human family are also found those who respond to that inner group of thinkers who, working in mental matter, control from the subjective side of life the emergence of the great plan and the manifestation of divine purpose. This group of thinkers falls into 7 main divisions and is presided over by 3 great lives or superconscious entities. These 3 are the Manu, the Christ, and the Mahachohan. These 3 work primarily through the method of influencing the minds of the Adepts and the Initiates. These latter, in their turn, influence the disciples of the world, and these disciples, each in his own place and on his own responsibility, work out their concept of the plan and seek to give expression to it as far as possible. It is therefore, as you can surmise, a process of stepping down rates of vibration until they are sufficiently heavy to affect physical plane matter and thus make possible the building of organized effects on the physical plane. These disciples have hitherto worked very much alone, except when karmic relationships have revealed them to each other, and telepathic intercommunication has been fundamentally confined to the hierarchy of adepts and initiates, both in and out of incarnation, and to their individual work with their disciples. In closing, it is, however, now deemed possible to establish a resembling condition and a telepathic relation between disciples on the physical plane. No matter where they may find themselves, this group of mystics and knowers will eventually find it feasible to communicate with one another, and frequently do, even now. Awesome. I'm going to cut really quick over here to a clip from this video where this gentleman here is interviewing Sadhguru. And the question of the video is titled, "Are psychic powers and telepathy really real?" This is Dr. Devi Shetty with Sadhguru.
If people are willing to, first of all, understand, like the whims of their heart, you just dismissed as dumb, okay? If they also understand the so-called smartness of their thought process and emotion is quite dumb, now it becomes easy. It becomes easy to train people that communication it's not like, now I want to generate this thought and give it to you, not like that. Things will happen to you before you think. What is best for you will simply happen to you even before you articulate in your mind. You don't have to ever think what you want to become, how you want to be. Life will just arrange itself. An intelligence beyond what you can contain in this bone box starts working for you, and it'll work.
Yes. So that's it. That's awesome. I'll link this video down below in the description box. What he was saying is so true for me too, because that's the whole thing. And it even mentions it in this Alice Bailey book about the concept when you start getting going on trying to do telepathy, you'll realize that most people block themselves innately by trying to either, because you have to program yourself to become either the person who sends it, which actually takes a lot more discipline and focus, or non-focus you could say, but to become the receiver also takes a level of training. And the main work is to actually free yourself of the attempting to be a receiver, to get a message. You actually have to be the most open and loose and not thinking, like he's talking about. It's that state of emptiness that allows you to be this transmitter and receiver in this really powerful place. And I found that to be true for me exactly when I started receiving the message I put in this title here back in June so strongly, just when I would just get ready to fall asleep, when I would lay down, and the second my mind became empty or clear, loud and clear, I would get this message. Everything that I am and everything that you are makes perfect sense. And then it would just start with this whole other conversation, and it's that moment when two minds become in rapport that this stuff can really be possible. So it's awesome, and I'm gonna continue on with this, and I hope it helps. Or if you're interested or you have any questions, just shoot me an email, isabria@gmail.com. Take care.